Elise is our superstar for the day. And very quickly, Elise, just want to tell you about her. She is the founder of marketing-mentor.com, which is an amazing resource for any kind of freelance professional, photographers, writers, designers, and she's been doing that for quite some time now. She's also a national speaker and business coach. She's the author of 7 books and the Marketing Mix blog. She is the host of the How Live podcast and the Marketing Mentor podcast. So you want to check out those resources because they're amazing. And then she's also the creator of several of our programs and is a speaker at our boot camp and job fair, has been for many years, coming back again this year. And so we're delighted to have her today because she really is someone who understands the whole fear and unknown about working with clients, pricing your work, feeling comfortable with it, and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to now share my slides. Welcome, Elise.
Thank you, Pam. Great to be here.
So I already explained who Elise is and why we're so excited to have her here today. So let's jump in. What we're going to cover is, before this presentation, Elise and I got together and we said, what are the 10 questions writers ask about the most often? I mean, we have Facebook groups, we have events like this, and quite often the same questions come up over and over again when it comes to finding and working with clients and getting paid what you're worth. So we thought that's a perfect way to structure this. We have 10 questions we're going to cover. And I hope as we go through, you'll feel really comfortable about finding well-paying clients, charging what your work is worth, presenting rates with confidence, and how to get started on doing that. And then we'll open it up for Q&A at the very end. And you want to stick around for that because we have other stuff to cover too. So I'm going to close my video so that you can somehow, let's see, where's that? Okay. So we can focus on Elise and the slides here. All right. So the first question is for you, Elise. Ba-da-bum. What defines a well-paying client?
So, of course, it depends, right? And it depends on a few different things. The first is what you need to bring in on a monthly basis and on an annual basis. So a lot of times people complain about the clients that they have and complain that they're not well paying because there isn't a match. The client just came, landed, they found them somehow, and then suddenly the expectation is this client should be able to pay what I need to charge. And marketing, of course, is the solution to many pricing problems, and it goes that way in this case too. But first, before you do any marketing, before you figure out who the clients are that you're looking for and who are the well-paying clients, you need to know what you need. So what is your monthly goal? What is your annual goal? And how many clients at what kind of projects, at what kind of fee will it take to get you to that goal? So we do have an example of that, very simple. And the thing about this is it is really simple, but for some reason we tend to complicate things in our own mind. And so my goal with all of the programs that I offer and all of the mentoring that I do is to break it down to its simplest, almost baby steps, so you can really hold on to it and understand it and implement it into your own process. So this idea of what do you need to earn could be as simple as I need $5,000 a month. And that means I could have 5 clients a month paying $1,000, or I could have 2 clients a month paying $2,500. It doesn't matter how you end up at your goal, and it will probably take you a while to get to your goal. So you have to be really patient, but you have to know, for example, and actually that's the next slide, right? How many of what types of projects are going to get to you to your goal. So if the goal is $5,000 a month, then that could be 4 blog posts a month at $500 each, and 4 case studies at, let's say, $1,200 each. And that, as you can see, will get you even over your goal. So what do you need to charge for each type of project to get you to your goal? And then, and only then, do you figure out, all right, who can pay me that? And then that's who you market to. Is that clear, Pam?
I think so, yeah. And I think it really puts a different perspective on this. It's not really about a general sense of what you should be charging and what clients will pay. It's very personal, and it's based on what you want to do. Not, oh gosh, I heard that the only way to make big money is writing long sales letters. Well, I don't want to do that. Believe me, there are so many ways, so many different kinds of projects today that pay well, that you can pick what you want to do, and how much you want to work, and how many clients you want to manage, and what types of things you want to do for them. So it's really very personal, and that's why it's hard to just have a blanket answer for you. That's why we're giving you these very hopefully thought-provoking prompts for you to think about what you want. All right, so the second question is, how do I present myself in a way that sets me up to charge more? Elise, take it away.
So my approach is, as I said, that most pricing problems have marketing solutions. So if the people who are finding you and just landing in your lap, and sometimes that gets called word of mouth, as if everybody thinks word of mouth is the best way to get clients. I personally don't agree with that, because usually the people who find you may not be able to afford you. So if the people who are finding you can't afford you, I don't suggest that you waste your time trying to convince them that they should pay more, because for the most part, they either can't pay more, or you haven't established the value that you bring, and therefore they won't pay more, because all of that happens during your marketing process. So if they are just coming to you and there's been no marketing, then it's very possible that they're not going to be those well-paying clients. So that means you want to get in front of people who can pay you. And really, that's all about how you market yourself. So how should you be marketing yourself? This is actually an idea that I have been developing, and I'm starting to develop even more, and will be developing even more into 2020. This idea of how do you go from order taker to partner, or even strategic partner. And those are two very different poles on the spectrum, sides of the spectrum. Order taker is when people find you, they hear, oh, you're a copywriter, here's what we need, please do this for us, right? And then you are essentially an order taker. You are using your hands, maybe a little bit of your brain, but mostly your hands to do what they need done. As opposed to when you go out looking for prospects, you become and you position yourself as a partner, as a strategic partner who brings ideas and solutions to the table, maybe even solutions to problems they don't know they have. And so you choose the people by looking at their website, for example, who you think, oh, they could really use some help. I see that they're not doing this and this, and maybe they don't know how, or maybe they don't have a good resource to do it. And so you approach them with your ideas, which again positions you as a strategic partner, and you say, if you wanted to do this, I can help you, right? So that is basically a way of focusing and drawing the attention to your brain and not to your hands. And so then I want to say, don't worry about the writing. You may be concerned that you don't have enough writing skills, or enough writing samples, or enough practice at the kind of writing that they need. First of all, often the clients don't know the difference. They can't tell an excellent copywriting project from a mediocre, which is not to say that you're going to write mediocre and it'll be fine. You're going to get better with every single project. But I see too many people getting in their own way, worrying about the quality of their writing. Really, what's important here is showing how you think and how your brain works and what you can do to help them. And then the writing is how you implement those ideas. So you want to show what you know and how it will help them. What do you think?
And Yeah, I have a good analogy to that. So
Mm-hmm.
I freelance in the veterinary industry because I used to work for a veterinary equipment company. And usually when I move to a new town, I try to find a veterinarian for my dog, but I'll also ask the practice, how are you guys um, communicating with your clients? And they'll say, oh, we try to do a newsletter, but it's really lousy. And I said, well, I could help you with that. But instead of just saying, I'm going to write your monthly newsletter, we talk about the bigger picture. Like what is your goal with the newsletter? And then what are some topics that you could focus on throughout the year, because there are, timely issues like here's come spring with all the fleas and ticks, or Thanksgiving is a terrible time for dogs because they eat all the leftovers and some of them can be toxic. You really strategically think about what pet owners need to know. And so that they'll know you're a great resource and they'll come to you, your practice, for services, and you're going to be so amazing they'll never leave, and they'll go to, and not go to the boring practice down the road. So that's a much bigger strategic discussion, and they will be so grateful and so impressed that it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, if you want to put an editorial calendar together, that would be amazing. We really could use that. So then you, and any industry, you can do this. If you're an expert on accounting or something else, you can come to your clients with that more strategic, bigger picture look based on what you know as writers. And they don't, trust me, they know so little about copywriting that anything you tell them is going to be a boon. They're going to think you're a superhero. So that's how I always look at those things. Like if you, another example I'm trying to think of,
I have an
often,
example, actually.
okay, go for it. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about a call I had with a client this morning who's a copywriter. And we were talking about how she can demonstrate her value before having the money conversation. And we will talk about the money conversation in a little bit. But one of the ideas, and this is actually in my pricing program for AWAI as well, I talk about how do you demonstrate the value that you bring before you start talking about money. Because if they don't see your brain at work on their job or on their company or on their situation, then they're not going to value what you bring. And one of the ways you do that is by asking good questions, and such good questions that your questions show the gap between what you know and what they don't know. Because
Great.
in that gap is where your value is. And this client had a really good example this morning. She was talking about, she's doing a project, writing an article for a higher education institution that will be placed in an advertisement. So it's kind of an advertorial. And she said to them, do you know if you'll be able to use this article in other ways once they publish it? Because they're spending a lot of money to have her write it for a one-time publication. And they had no idea. And so that simple question, how else will you be able to use this article, or will you, showed that she knows a lot about what she's talking about and they know very little, therefore they should hire her.
Perfect. Yes, that's good. Anytime you can prompt questions about, like somebody hires you to write a blog and you start writing the blog, but you're like, where does this blog lead to in the sales sequence? Like if it's a B2B website and you're writing a blog, what do you want people to do after they read the blog? Do you want them to download a free report or go to a page where there's a demo or something like that? So when you're thinking bigger picture, you are way ahead for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You have a plumber approach story, and I do too, right?
I can't remember my plumber approach.
Oh, okay. Well, mine is this. All right. So I love the plumber analogy. You are studying writing, and you know by default, as we have proven over the years, that you will know 90% more than your client will know about copywriting and writing blogs and writing articles or anything, because they're not studying that like you are. They are kind of helpless. They're so busy running their business or their practice or whatever, that they just are like, what? I know there's another digital marketing thing I'm supposed to do, but I don't know how to write it. So I take the plumber approach where, let's say you're at home and suddenly something springs a leak and you have to call a plumber, and they come in and they scope it out, and within 10 minutes they bang on something and it's fixed. Ta-da, that'll be $100, please. And the person thinks, you're charging me $100 for 5 minutes of work? It's like, no, I'm charging you for all the studying I've been doing and the expertise I have and how I have the ability to help you in 10 minutes. That's what you're paying for. So that was the analogy I was trying to think of as, we study writing. We know what works. We go in and we can help the client, and that'll be $100, please.
Right. So we are the expert. And I think, that goes directly to, and we will talk about this too, why you should not be charging hourly for your work, because essentially the better you get, the faster you get, the less you charge. That makes no sense at all. So it's not about the fact that it took the plumber 5 minutes to fix the leak. It's how much experience you bring. And that will connect to one of our future questions. So I'm not going to preempt you.
Okay.
Let's wait till we get there.
Yep. And I just wanted to point out this link here, which is Elise's pricing guide program with us that walks you through all of this in super detail. So you just feel like you've got it, totally got it. I mean, we're going to present a lot of things to you today that give you a lot of direction and will help you, but that program is way in depth. If you want to check it out, that's the link there. All right, question 3. Where can I find the top rates that I can charge, or even the standard ranges in the country that I can charge? So first, we have a pricing guide that we put out every year, and this is the link to that. You can find it on our website. It's free, and it's pretty exciting because it covers 75 different copywriting projects that you could be asked to do, or that you could be even focusing on. Pick out of those 75, all right, I'm going to do these 5. And you'll know the pricing ranges for that. The typical pricing range is based on a lot of research that we do, but then you decide how comfortable you are. And then, and then I wanted to talk about, well, first go there, but it also kind of explains what each one of them is. And then you say, question 4, well, what if I'm a newbie and I don't have a lot of experience? Can I charge the rates that are in that pricing guide? So that's where I wanted Elise to jump in.
Right. So, I mean, I have very mixed feelings in general about pricing guides, truthfully, because partially because the clients aren't reading the pricing guides, right? So they don't know what the going rate is, and therefore often there is no going rate. So it depends on the industry, it depends on the type of writing, and it's good to have the information so that you know where you're going and maybe what other people charge. But that doesn't mean that you won't have to, on a case-by-case basis, have the money conversation with each client. And that's really, I think, the thing that is most important. So, but can you charge those rates if you're a newbie and you don't have a lot of writing experience? Okay, first of all, I want to say writing experience, because certainly you have a lot of other experience that has value, whether it's experience in an industry or an experience in business, or even I've been talking to Beverly Matoni. I don't know if Beverly is on the call, but she is a homeschool copywriter. And so she spent, 20 years homeschooling her children, and that's the experience she brings. Even though she didn't write about it, she's only been writing about it for 18 months or so, but all of that experience really brings value, and that makes it possible for her to charge the higher rates as opposed to the lower rates. So please.
That's a really good point.
Right?
If I can interrupt you there for
please.
just 1 second. When I'm trying to help members figure out what niche they should write in, like niche industry, I mean, we start with, what is your background? Or is there a hobby? It doesn't even have to be your career. It can be something you're passionate about as a hobby, like let's say gardening and landscaping. Well, you bring to clients in that industry a wealth of knowledge that they will so appreciate. When I look on job boards like Indeed.com or SimplyHired.com, 9 times out of 10, the ads say, for copywriters or web writers or bloggers, if you have experience in our industry, that's a huge bonus. So whether it's sailing or insurance or anything, whatever you bring to the table that you are excited to write about, they will love you. They will love that about you. I mean, I had a website for a while called petcopywriter.com, and it's since been sold to a veterinarian, but people would come to me and just say, I don't even have to look at anyone else because you're petcopywriter.com. I know you understand the pet industry. Ta-da. So think about the value you bring beyond your writing skills and how powerful that can be.
And with that said, I mean, one of the things you said before, Pam, that I want to go back to is you can find out what the, regular rates are that have been found through the research. But if you don't feel comfortable charging those rates for whatever reason, it will take you time to feel comfortable charging the higher rates. Then you can, and that's what the beauty of the money conversation is, you can negotiate rates that feel comfortable to you without coming out and saying, and we will get to this, I'm a newbie, I don't feel like I can charge that much. You can say that to yourself, you can say that to us, but you're not going to say that to the client, and you're going to negotiate a fee that will allow you to feel comfortable, to do your best job, to get some samples under your belt, to get some testimonials for your website, and to start getting some referrals.
Yes, so that's what we mean, free or low cost is also okay to get that momentum rolling. Like if you're just starting out, maybe you've been a writer for a while, but you're shifting gears on what kinds of services you want to offer. Or maybe you haven't even landed your first client. You could go to a local business that you know, or somebody you know as a friend who works for a company and they're involved in marketing. You could say, hey, you know what, I want to get the ball rolling, and I want to get some projects under my belt, some samples, some testimonials. I'm willing to do a free audit of your website or some free blog posts for a month, or I'm just kind of making that up, but you can offer something.
I would say one.
Okay. You can offer something in return for that momentum that has value to you.
Yes.
All right. So as you were saying, Elise, don't advertise that you're new, right?
Right. I mean, again, I have mixed feelings about this because it's not a secret, right? You're not trying to pretend you've been at it longer than you actually have, but you're also not going to call attention to the things that you don't have, which may be a lot of experience. So you have to feel your way in the conversations. So you're not going to advertise that you're new, but it is okay in a conversation to say, well, I'm relatively new at this, or I don't have a lot of experience with exactly what you're looking for. So let me offer it to you this way. And then maybe you say, I'll do it for half price, or I'll do the first one for free. Because the thing is, often I find people assume or imagine that the client is this ogre who, won't pay any money and wants them to do the best possible job for nothing. And truthfully, there are a lot of clients out there who have a lot of empathy for new people and are willing to give you a shot, especially if they don't have to pay the top rate for it. So I think you want to be as honest as you can be without, touting your newness. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah. And I think if, I remember one of our members who was an accountant, and she said, I'm never doing tax season again, I'm burned out. But she was a new copywriter. The fact that she could go to other accounting firms just by learning, I don't know, even her first year with us, learning about copywriting that works and websites that work and everything. And she was new, but her accounting background, and we go back to what you bring to the table besides writing, she just took off like crazy because accounting firms are notoriously bad at their marketing messages. They generally look very stiff, corporate. They talk about how awesome they are instead of how much they can help you. And so she knew right away that she could help practices and accounting software companies and anybody in that industry just by her background and then applying things that she's been learning that are proven to work. So you might be surprised that you have a lot more to you than, oh gosh, I'm new and I'm not sure. There's so much more than that.
And actually, I'll add one other thing, which is that The clients, because as we said, they can't usually tell the difference between an excellent piece of writing and a mediocre piece of writing. What they're judging you based on is how you interact with them. Do you do what you said you're going to do? Do you meet the deadline? Do you follow up? Are you responsive? Those are all things they know how to assess and judge. The writing, not so much. So that's why I want to say, please stop worrying about the writing. It's really not the most important thing.
You know, that's a great, and Elise brings up all these great points that I just want to piggyback on. I remember, you know, a few years ago, oh, this was through you, Elise.
Oh, yeah.
At one of my first job fairs, you were there and you had a project that you wanted people to send in a spec or you know, apply for. And I was one of those people who sent in a spec, or I did something, and then you decided not to go ahead with the project. So, but you were so kind and you said, you know what, there's a landscaping company in, I forget where, that could use help with their marketing, and I will introduce them to you. And this was so great because unbeknownst to me, the landscaping company reached out to me, but they also reached out to another writer. And they said in the email, how can you help us with our website? It's not really working that well. So writer B, not me, just completely responded within seconds, like, here's what I do, it costs this, and when do you want to start? Like, and I went, let's get on the phone and talk about what your struggles are. Tell me about your business. What's the competitive environment there? What are you finding to be the biggest thing that people love about you? Let's have a conversation. And so,
using your brains, by the way.
Yeah, using your brains. I didn't write anything. I just said, I want to understand your goals and your needs before I would ever assume to send a proposal to you. And I didn't know the other person had done that. So they called me and we had a great conversation, and they said, you're hired, let's get going. And they said, by the way, the other person we reached out to just sent us kind of a instant message, fling it over the fence. It was, they didn't care. So showing that you care about the client, what they need, what they're struggling with, and how you can help them goes so far. Just showing that you care.
But here's what I would say. I totally agree with you. And I didn't know that about that.
Yes, I've never followed up and told you. I forgot.
But the point is that most people would not invite them to have a phone conversation because they don't want to have that conversation because they feel so insecure about what they're going to say. But the truth is, all that matters is what you ask, so that you show that you know what you're talking about through your questions, not trying to impress them because you say all the right things. And I think the biggest reason many people do not get the projects that they send a proposal for is because they fail to have that conversation. They just send the numbers because they don't want to talk.
Yeah. Boy, just having a conversation is a major step toward building a relationship where they trust you, they feel comfortable with you, and you become, with most clients I've found, you become a real partner, and more than that, a friend, someone they know has your back, or you have their back. Another thing is that I always say, I will never work for your competitors. I'm going to give you 110%, and I could never turn around and say, oh, I'm going to give you 110%. So, if you're in a great industry, you don't have to worry about that. And just saying those things and listening to them can go such a long way with clients when they're first meeting you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, all right. So there are people out there who will pay you, right? And not the people who can't, as Elise said at the very beginning. So how do I find those well-paying clients that I can actually approach? I love this answer. Elise, this is your answer.
This is my answer? I thought this was your answer.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it came out of both of us talking, but whatever. It doesn't matter, because the answer is attract the people who are looking. So, oh, you know why I thought it was yours? Because you said you don't want to try and convince people who don't even know they need you. Right. Go ahead and attract the people who need you, who know they need you. They're looking online. Trust me. Right now there are, 13,000 copywriting jobs on simplyhired.com. And this is just one sample here. If you understand studies in medical journals and can summarize the findings for lay people, it's a bonus if you've worked with supplement or natural health marketers. So these people, this company wants writers with that background. So let's say you pick a niche industry that you're going to write for, and you present yourself on Facebook or LinkedIn, sorry, not Facebook, LinkedIn, where the business people are, as the writer in that industry. You have a background as a wine sommelier. You love wine. You live and breathe wine. It's your thing. You want to study it. You've been to Italy. You're all about wine. So you position yourself on LinkedIn as the wine copywriter. Lo and behold, a company comes along searching online, either in Google, LinkedIn, or posting a job like this. They're saying, if you have a wine background, you are the person. And they don't even look at anyone else. So that's how you can attract people who already are looking for you. Position yourself as the industry, someone who knows the industry, what you bring to the table. I can't tell you how many times we're going to repeat this today, but your industry background and your interest in a certain niche goes super far with clients. So showcase that. And believe me, yeah.
And maybe one of the questions here is, because we're showing a job description, right? Mm-hmm. People will think, oh, well, they're looking for a full-time person. I'm not a full-time person. I'm a freelance copywriter. But that's okay, because they may not know that a freelancer could satisfy the needs that they have, and or in the interim, while they're looking for someone, you could do whatever they have that needs to be done sooner rather than later. So I would take advantage of this type of job description or job listing that you may come across, only if it's a perfect fit for you.
Yeah, and that's another thing, I just use this to show you an example of how companies are eager right now to find writers with a background in their industry. This was just one example. I know that every day marketers are searching in LinkedIn with keywords like law firm copywriter, or insurance copywriter, or manufacturing copywriter, and they'll look on Google that way too. So if you position yourself that way, you're a match.
And if your LinkedIn profile has the right keywords, they will find you.
Exactly. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
All right.
So go where well-paying clients are going.
Right.
This was a list we came up with together. Nothing beats, things beat, they're all even. If you can't go to a lot of in-person networking events because you're in a tiny town, or you're living on the mountaintop, or you're living in Mexico, that's fine. But if you live in an area where they have a chamber of commerce, or they have meetups that are business focused, you could go there and just meet them and put a sticker on, hello, my name is Pam, I write websites, or I fix websites, or whatever you want to say. And they're like, oh my gosh.
Let me tell you a story. So one of my clients, who's a brand new copywriter who specializes in small business and entrepreneurs, went on Tuesday night to a meetup for tech entrepreneurs. And apparently they told everyone to write on their name tag something interesting. So he couldn't think of anything. So he wrote, I write stuff. And apparently the fact that he didn't say what kind of copywriting he did caused people to ask him, what kind of stuff do you write? And then that got them into a conversation. So that was just kind of a brilliant example of something that very serendipitously happened, but was very helpful, and anyone can use it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I've gone to things like this, Portland, Maine, so that's where I'm from originally, and they have a regional chamber of commerce, and they've got, right here, I'm showing you, business after hours. Happens to be at a beer place. How much more fun would that be? But this is where marketers, salespeople, all kinds of business people are mingling and gathering with the sole purpose of making connections and or seeing friends they already know in the industry. And it could be small business owners, or it could be corporate marketing people who are there. That there's a real mix, and you're there just to get to know them. And this may not be your comfort zone, but I love that story where he just put, I write stuff. I went to one of these meetups in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was for SEO people, search engine optimization people. And 90% of the attendees were programmers and analytic people and total geek world, right? And I love them. but I write SEO copy, and more people came up to me like, oh my gosh, you're one of the only copywriters that ever comes to this. Can we have your card? Blah, blah, blah. And there was one guy sitting at the table, at the registration table, holding up a sign, SEO copywriters wanted. And I just went up to him and said, what do you have in mind there, bub? You know, it was like, it was just an open door. So,
well, and that's because many copywriters refuse to do in-person networking. And so if you can gather up the courage, or even if you like networking, it's one of the best marketing tools because so few people are doing it.
Yeah. And if you put something, if you're not a real comfortable icebreaker conversation starter person, that name tag idea is brilliant.
It is.
Yeah. Good. Now, this works online, of course, as well. So Elise is the LinkedIn expert extraordinaire on how freelancers can get great clients. And we have done a free Inside AWAI, a whole hour plus question time on just that subject. So we're not going to go real deep on that today, but that's the link to where you can go and watch that full hour with Elise on getting clients through LinkedIn.
And actually, let me just say, since we did that, LinkedIn has grown in its popularity and in its usage for business people looking for resources. So I just think it's getting better and better as an opportunity.
Maybe we need to do a LinkedIn one every year with you then.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. But just know, if you haven't dabbled in LinkedIn in any way yet, because you've been humming along in a different career or something, and you're really just coming on board to the fact that you're going to have to market yourself to get clients, LinkedIn is a powerhouse for freelancers because there are groups you can join, there are connections you can make, there are ways to present yourself with writing. You know, you're not going to be able to walk up and shake a hand or have a name tag on your shirt, but you sure can write a great profile of yourself that positions you as a writer in a certain niche industry. And trust me, clients in every industry are there looking, oh, where can I find a writer? And Steve Maurer, if you don't know Steve Maurer, he's like the LinkedIn king. He's a specialist in B2B manufacturing copy. And he works LinkedIn like no one I've ever seen. he follows different people in his industry that he wants to connect with, and then he'll comment on something they posted, and then they'll go, oh, you have a cool background. You do writing? Let's talk. And it's amazing how he works it. So do watch that presentation, because I think, was he in that with you?
He was there, yes.
Yeah, okay, so you can see how it's done. It's amazing. All right, so how do I approach those clients? Elise, I'm going to let you start the answer to this one.
Okay. So the first thing to know is that everything you write is an example of your work. So you want to use your writing and use the content that you create to connect with people. And as a byproduct, actually using your writing to create content for yourself increases your confidence, because it's kind of a magical thing. When you get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper, you say, oh my God, look what I know. And that is how your confidence increases. So the more content you can write about copywriting for the pet industry, about copywriting for the landscaping industry, about SEO copywriting for the pet and landscaping industry, right? Whatever you can create that will be helpful, useful content to show what you know and then share what you know. So there you basically present it to a client, and it can be as simple as, here's the solution to a challenge I can see that you're having. I can see that from your website that you haven't updated in your blog in a year. Maybe I can help you. And here's an article that shows what you could be doing, right? Or if you can't see what their problem is, you could say something like, in case this is a challenge that you're having, here's something that might help. And this is a really easy thing to do through LinkedIn, because you can publish your own content on LinkedIn as if it were your blog. It's even better than your own blog. And then you can use those links in your invitations to connect with the people that you've chosen that you think you're the best fit for.
And to echo that, when I started petcopywriter.com, and I owned it for 10 years, I would say that the majority of clients that came to me out of the blue, companies I didn't know about, found me because of my content. I had a blog, and what I would post on that blog is not random stuff, but tips I was learning maybe through AWAI or following something online like Moz or SEMrush. Those are different companies that talk about what's working today in digital marketing. And I would take a concept like Google just changed the Panda update and now you have to da 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 da. I would take that and say, what does this mean for your veterinary practice? What does this mean for your pet company? So everything that I wrote about was stuff I was learning, and then I would apply it to marketers in the niche I wanted to talk to, because that's how they found me. They kept searching pet copywriter, pet websites, pet SEO, blah, blah, blah. And I would keep showing up because I'd written content about that.
And actually, you made a good point. I don't know if you were aware of this, Pam, but you said, I was writing about what I was learning. And I think that's an important note, that you can write about what you're learning as opposed to what you already know, because it's a continuum, right? And it's a process, and they don't know the difference between what you're learning and what you're an expert at.
Right. As digital writers, we are learning new stuff every day because the landscape's changing every day. And guess what? Marketers can't keep up with it all because they've got, sales quota and staff meetings and all this other stuff they're doing. So did they even know about that Panda update? I'm not sure.
No, but that's what I meant about demonstrating your value and asking questions that show what you know that they don't know.
Right. Love it. So much fun. So it's fun because you're helping people and you're at the same time demonstrating that you know your stuff. So when you do this kind of thing, when you put out content, whether it's on LinkedIn or in a blog or in an e-newsletter, whatever you do, you're positioning yourself as someone who's thinking about the client and how to help them.
With your brain.
Yep. And your hands, because you're writing, but but yeah, it's more consultative. I can't say that word. Consultative. Consultative. It's more strategic and bigger. It's more of an approach that you would be a partner for them, not just, how many word count is in this blog. No. You are showing them that this is an opportunity they should seize upon, and you can help them seize upon it. That's bigger picture. The second bullet here is like I used to work for LL Bean many moons ago. And when I applied to them, they said, well, have you done a lot of catalog copywriting? And I hadn't. So they asked for a sample. So what did I do? I went to their catalog and I studied their tone, their approach, their format, their voice, and I wrote a sample that looked like them, and I won the job, right? Because it's important that you understand the client. So if you decide to go after a company specifically that you'd love to work for, wouldn't it be cool if you presented a blog idea, not maybe a whole written blog, but just an idea that's in their voice, that sounds like them, and that is something fresh that they could put out? I just think that could be really cool.
And that shows you care also, that you took the time to go out of your way to do that.
Yeah. So your content and your writing skills can work wonders in a lot of different ways, and the marketers need you to do that for them. All right, next question. When a client would like a proposal, how do I charge more without wincing?
All right,
so
first of all, when they say, send me a proposal, if you have not talked about money yet, don't do it. Say, I'm sorry, but before I send you a proposal, I have some questions I need to ask you. And you can even say, we need to have the money conversation, right? We need to figure out if we're a good fit, because I can't tell you how many people are wasting so much time because they're afraid to have the money conversation, writing proposals that they never hear back on. We really have to banish that. Right?
Good.
So instead of waiting for them to ask for a proposal, you initiate the money conversation. You take the lead. And if they don't let you take the lead, then that's a red flag, number one. So you take the lead when you're ready. to have the money conversation, to talk about money. And then what you do is, okay, here we have it on the slide.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's okay.
So, so they're probably saying, you know, what's your price? What's your hourly rate? What's your word rate, right? And you want to slow it all down, I think. You don't want to be in a hurry to blurt out numbers because you may say the wrong numbers. So just slow it all down. And they may ask what your fee is. And again, you can say, well, let me ask you some questions and then I'll quote you an appropriate fee. And so you can ask for their budget or their budget range, but, and this is a caveat, they may not know. They may not give it to you, even if they do know, and they may have no idea what it should cost, right? So if you ask for a budget and they don't give it to you, you don't stop right there. You have to push back until you get some kind of numbers on the table. You're not going to do a proposal until you've got some sense of what they're thinking about. So if they don't have one, if they don't give you any numbers, here's what you say. You say, are you thinking 500, 5,000, or 50,000? Right? And it's not like those are your prices. You're going to do an article for 500, 5,000, or 50,000. It's an absurd range. So you want to give them an absurd range that they can basically place themselves on, right? And so they will very likely say, oh, 50,000, of course not. 5,000, I don't think so. But maybe we were thinking around 1,000, right? So then they've given you something to work with. And the thing that's kind of amazing about this is that people don't know they know what their budget is. But if you push and put some numbers on the table, they magically suddenly know what their budget is. It's kind of amazing.
That's awesome. I've never really thought about it, but you're so right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, if they can't answer that question, then my other technique is to try a hypothetical. And basically you say, what if I said it was going to be $10,000? Or what if I told you it was going to be this? And there's something about that little distance of the hypothetical that takes it out of the reality realm where someone could say, well, that would be too much, or I would fall off my chair. In fact, you can ask, would you fall off your chair if I told you it was going to be $10,000? And then that adds a little levity to the conversation, and it makes the money conversation a little bit easier.
And you know what's cool about that, which I love, is that sometimes I have felt really sheepish to quote a rate. For example, when I do web copy, it's typically $600 a page. Bottom line, $600 a page, makes it easy to quote. You pick how many pages you want, it's $600 a page. But sometimes I'm afraid to say that. And because I've gotten two reactions in the past. One is like, oh my God, we can't do that. And it's like, well, let's talk about it then and see what you can do. Mm-hmm. The second one is they don't even bat an eye and go, okay. Like that guy on Saturday Night Live, okay. And so you go, well, that was easy.
And maybe you should be charging more.
No kidding, yeah. But you never quite know. So anyway, so I love the idea of this conversation that kind of puts the onus on them putting themselves somewhere in the spectrum, because you never know. And then you decide, like if they say that's too much, I can't do it, you decide, do I want to work with this client anyway because I love them? Like mm-hmm. Little tiny dog daycare, I still want to help them because they're awesome mm-hmm. and it's a good brand on my website. But mm-hmm. And I have time to help them in between the big jobs. But that's when you get to decide. Okay. So yes, as Elise wanted to just make sure.
And the point here to keep in mind that the proposal is just a formality after you both agree. This is a totally other way of thinking about the proposal. Most people think about the proposal as, here's the thing that's going to deliver the information they don't have yet. But no, the proposal is essentially a confirmation of what you just agreed to on the phone.
Perfect. Okay. Because then there's no sticker shock. There's no surprise.
There's no
it's
stress.
Like, yeah. It's just a matter of, okay, I'll check back with you in a couple of days, see if you're all set. All righty. Now, this question I saw on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I have a client I've been working with for a while, and I'm realizing I've been way undercharging based on what the work I've been doing and the hours I've been putting in. So how do I raise my rates with an existing client?
So, first of all, let's say that the best time to raise your rate is with new clients. In other words, every new client, you should charge a little bit more until all of your clients are paying as much as they possibly can, and you are increasing your rates regularly. Because what happens is the first clients, because maybe you weren't as confident charging as much, and they're still paying that really low rate. Now, on the one hand, I would say most clients have an expiration date, and you have to move on, especially from the very first ones. You may feel kind of emotionally attached to them, or they give you a shot, but eventually you're going to have to move on if you want bigger and better clients. However, with that said, with current clients, there are different strategies that you can try. Like the fact that we just started a new decade or a new year makes it the perfect time to raise your rates. And it's only mid-February, right? So it's not too late actually to do it for the new decade or the new year. And you can say, well, my new rates for this new decade are X. Now, it may be too high for them. So again, you have to have the money conversation. And you might say something like, you know, it's been a while. It's been a while since we raised my fees, or we have never raised my fees for you. So at this point, all of my new clients are paying X, and I'd love to bring you up closer to that. So let's talk about what would be affordable to you. So it's a conversation. It's not like, here's what my new clients are paying and you have to pay that too. And that way they feel like a partner in the process. And it's a conversation, and you're basically letting them give you the feedback so that you can little by little inch them up higher. Because if they value what you're bringing, then they want you to be fairly compensated.
Yeah, and I just thought of another scenario where it might be a comfortable time. It's any time of year if it's like a renewal period with a client. So let's say you've been doing blog post retention, like 4 blog posts a month since June last year. June is coming up this year. You could say, okay, it's time for an annual renewal. Here's what's going on. Look at all the things that I've brought you, all the traffic I've brought you, and the leads I've brought you through my blog. So let's revisit the pricing here, you know, to address that. So that's another time when it's a really good milestone to bring up the conversation.
Celebrate the anniversary with a rate increase.
That's right.
Right?
Yep. And the client can celebrate all that great traffic you brought them. So I think that's a good thing too, is if, you know, you have an existing client, you've brought in results for them, they're happy with you, then it's a really comfortable conversation to have. It shouldn't be adversarial in any way. All right. 9, question 9. What if I don't live in the U.S.? Are there the same opportunities and rates? And I'm going to quickly answer this one. The short answer is yes. So many of our members work from abroad. This picture is Les Worley. He's one of our most successful members. He's a B2B software guy, and he started writing for an agency based in Texas, and they love him. They hired him full time, and now he oversees their copywriters, and he actually hires copywriters, but all from the beautiful expat home that he lives in Mexico. That's him in his backyard practically in Mexico. And it doesn't matter anymore because we're all online creatures now. I would say I know this for sure for U.S. clients. A lot of them do not care where you are, whether you're in Mexico or Zanzibar or whatever, and the U.K. as well. I don't know about clients in other countries. I don't have firsthand knowledge of that, but I know that a lot of our members are working from all over the place. Australia, we have several writers who are members of us who are in Australia doing great. So it doesn't matter really. It's wherever companies are trying to compete and market themselves online, they need good writers. So I think with the age of email, Skype, Zoom meetings like the one we're having now, PayPal for paying, everything online is making it so much easier. And that's the quick answer because I want to get to number 10, which everybody asks all the time. What's the fastest way to get jobs that pay well? And the answer is
Yeah, I mean, put yourself out there. Marketing is the answer to pricing problems. And we are talking a lot about in-person networking here today because I really think it's the most effective. That's where people go when they need help. They go out looking for it. And if you're working from Mexico, it's going to make it more difficult, especially if you're looking for US customers. But I just can't overemphasize the value of in-person networking, especially for people who are introverted. You'd be surprised how many other people are also introverts. And there's so many different kinds of small business events that you can go to meet people who need your help, basically. And especially, I think if you're relatively new to it and you don't have a lot of samples to show, it's easier to make an impression, a strong impression that is based on your personal presence and your brain, again, how you think, how you would approach someone's problem, than trying to connect with them, on a website, for example, or send them some samples. So in-person networking, there are business events on Meetup, your local Chamber of Commerce, Business Networking International. There are thousands of chapters everywhere internationally. One of my favorites, though, is 1 Million Cups, which is it's a nonprofit. There are 170, I think as of yesterday, 170, they call them communities, all across the country. It's supported by the Kaufman Foundation, which is a small business funding organization. And basically, it's free also. So people go there and new business owners pitch their ideas, and then the people in the audience give feedback. So it's just a really friendly, welcoming, open environment that I highly recommend. So getting out there. Some of these places are free. Some of them have a small fee. You can search Eventbrite for your geographic location or small business events in your geographic location. But the whole point about networking in person is it's all about timing. You should not expect that the person that you meet that day is going to have a need for your services right then and there. You have to build and cultivate relationships through your content over time, cultivate your patience. That's how marketing works.
Yep, persistence, every day, try to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Another way that is really, really a hidden opportunity in my mind is ad agencies and marketing firms. We did a inside AWAI session on this very topic with Jen Adams, and what she told me, I wasn't even aware of, that there are content agencies and marketing firms and ad agencies and B2B marketing companies out there that are looking for writers all the time. Their clients, each client of theirs needs so much content today that their in-staff writers can't keep up with all of it. So they're always looking for contractors or freelancers to supplement that. So I highly encourage you to go watch that. It's a whole hour on how to find those ad agencies, how that all works, and that they need you. They pay well, they need you. A lot of times they completely eliminate that client search thing for you, which kind of is a major bonus. And, so check that out. And then also, guess what? AWAI properties need copy and content all the time as well. We have awai.com, which has our Writer's Life newsletter, articles that we put out all the time. We have the Barefoot Writer, Professional Writers Alliance, Wealthy Web Writer. It's endless, the need for content and great material and fresh ideas on living as a writer. So go to those websites to consider writing for us. Each one of those has a Write for Us section on them. And then now we're going to get to Q&A because I know you must have some questions about all this. But so we can open it up for questions. I'm going to stop my share so you can see me. And the two of us will be here. Helen and Jade, I'm sure, have been frantically typing in the background to answer. I've been seeing lighting up on the Q&A and chat side. So do you have some things that you've maybe set aside for Elise? Jade or Helen?
No, there is a question here from Matt.
What, Jade, we can hardly hear you.
Oh, sorry, is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, there you go. Okay, so we have a question from Matt. He said, how do we find the right combination of our background, skills, and interests to pick a good niche? I have a long background in the tech industry, but don't really want to work with tech companies.
So the short answer on how to find a niche is to go to our Inside AWAI page. Just go to our website and type in Inside AWAI in the search box, and you will find 2 or 3 sessions specifically on how to find a niche, because I want you to take your time and understand how powerful it can be and how to go about the steps. I mean, we could maybe, at least you have a shorter answer here, but we've talked about your background. We've talked about your interests. If you are a tech person, but you don't want to write about tech, what else in your life would you pull from to write about instead? So yeah, Elise, how do you want to answer that?
So, I mean, my answer may be kind of radical, but in my opinion, your niche has nothing to do with you. All right. What I mean by that is you need to figure out what the world needs. What does the world need that you can provide? So, if you're not interested in technology, that's fine. Although I think you're wasting a lot of actual value that you bring to the table, but that's totally your call. So then you have to look, okay, what does the world need that I can provide? And then you choose. I think at the beginning, you should choose 2 or 3 possible niches that you explore. And that means you take time to actually reach out to the people and attend some of their networking events and get a conversation going to see, are these people saying, when you say, I'm a copywriter who knows how to do X or that specializes in X, do they say, oh, we don't need that? Or do they say, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Right? So you have to let the market tell you what it needs. Your market, the copywriting market, I didn't choose it. It chose me, right? So you have to listen to the market and let it speak to you. That's my radical idea.
Yeah, that's kind of radical, but I think I see 2 sides here. So I'm very much a champion of choosing a niche because that's how clients are looking a lot of times. They're searching online, I need a pet copywriter. Ta-da, perfect match. But if you're not sure yet, if you're struggling, or if you want to work with an agency or marketing firm, or you want to just go to a local business expo and explore the different companies there, that is perfectly fine. It's completely up to you. I've seen people work it both ways, and I say right now, you don't have to choose a niche. There's no one saying you will not succeed if you don't choose a niche. I'm just saying, if you have a background that you're really passionate about or interested in or bring so much value, why not go that way? Because it's an instant match with clients looking for that. But there are lots of clients and agencies and firms and people out there who don't care if you have a background in accounting. They need a good writer for this lawn seed project, so you can keep it open if you want to. Yeah, for sure.
And let me say another thing about niche. I mean, there's just so much to talk about here. And
I know.
There's no right answer. And
right.
We should probably do one of these on niche too, because I don't think I've ever talked about niche for you guys.
Okay.
But the idea is your niche could be a problem that you solve, right? It's not necessarily a vertical industry, although vertical industries make it much easier to market to these people. But if you know how to solve a particular problem, then you can solve it for anyone who has that problem, any niche that has that problem. And then I'm just going to plant one seed with a new idea that I've been thinking about, but haven't elaborated on really almost anywhere yet. So again, this is just kind of the first time. But I think there's a way. Tell me what you think of this, Pam. I think there's a way to speak the language of your market without calling out to them overtly and directly, if you are in the process of moving toward a particular niche. So for example, I actually do this on my website. My headline says, are you looking for bigger clients with better budgets? I don't say who you are. I just say, I'm speaking the language of the people I'm trying to attract without saying, are you a copywriter? Are you a creative professional? Right? That's what I mean. What do you think?
I'm not sure.
We'll have to elaborate a little bit.
No, it's okay. So if you are, I don't know how to market myself that broadly. I mean, I would say if I'm not focused on a market like pet industry or whatever, I would still want to identify what I offer very clearly. So I offer web content and SEO copywriting. That's my background. So in saying that to people, or I help websites work better, it's a little more general because they might think I'm a programmer and I'm not, but it gets the ball rolling. And people who need their websites to work better would pick up their ears at that, like, oh, let's talk. And that's
Exactly.
cool. So I think I'm seeing what you're saying, even though I didn't say, are you a coffee company that needs web? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, Jade, we might have missed?
Yes, there's quite a few here. I think I know the exact response to this, but Steve is asking, are there instances where a company takes your proposal, says no, and then steals your ideas?
I can't say I've experienced that, and I've been doing this for 400 years, but Elise, have you heard of that?
No, I think people are way too precious about their ideas, number one. Ideas are a dime a dozen, and all that matters is how you implement them. And the trick in a proposal is that you don't want to give them the specifics of what you would do, right? You just want to tell them how you might approach the problem, but you don't give them enough that they could steal it. They shouldn't be able to steal your proposal.
Right. Yes, I echo that. So when I do a proposal, for example, for web content writing, I'll say I will research the right keywords for you, and then I will use those keywords in the right places, woven into really good copy that attracts your audience, so like headlines and subheads, and I'll make sure every page is written to your satisfaction before we go ahead and give it to the developer. I haven't told them anything about how to write headlines, what kind of headlines, what the headline should say, so they can't steal that. I mean, they could go, oh, well, all I have to do is plop in keywords, but it will still be crap, honestly, if they don't know what I know. So that's a really good point. Don't give them too much so they can walk away and go, oh, well, I have all the things I need now.
Right.
I think I remember Joshua Boswell saying that when you go to a mechanic, he can give you the full list of what he's got to do to the car. That doesn't mean that you can fix the car.
No, not at all. Yeah.
This is a question specifically for you, Pam. James Hall is asking, when you said you charge $600 per page for web copy, is that just above the fold or as they scroll down on the full page when you're charging that?
That would be a full page, and it would include the keyword research for that page. So if I'm writing about dog beds, I would write, find the best dog bed key phrase there is and use it, strategically in the copy for the whole page. And that includes the title and the description you see in Google search too. So it's like the whole thing, 600 a page. How many pages you want? It just makes it easy.
Awesome. This is a long one. So Brenda is saying that she is struggling with nailing down a good estimate for pricing my time. My writing process realistically takes longer than I originally planned. I know my time will improve as I hone in my skills and efficiency. Is there anywhere I can find some sort of average time frame certain projects take? Example, when I used to cut hair, I knew it would take 20 to 15 minutes depending on who it was. Any suggestions?
I'm thinking we need a report on that. How much time a typical blog post should take, or a typical, yeah. I don't know offhand. Do you, Elise?
No, and I think it really depends on what exactly you're doing. And I would say always overestimate and then double what you think it's going to take. People tend to do what I call wishful estimating. And they want it to take less time because they don't want to charge too much, and they always end up over delivering, and their hourly rate goes down to $5 an hour. So
maybe it's like building a house, or a construction project. Double the time it takes and double the money.
Exactly.
That's what I've always heard anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Silvana is asking, how important is it to have a niche before you start the 21-day challenge with Elise?
Oh, actually, it's better if you don't have a niche, because that will open you up to explore more opportunities.
Awesome.
There you go. No pressure.
I mean,
there's no pressure. It's great.
That's the whole point.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Connie is asking, what does Elise mean by the term vertical industry?
So I mean, a vertical is an industry like the pet industry, like the landscaping industry, like the copywriting industry, as opposed to a horizontal, which is white papers or websites. Some people have a niche where they focus on the thing that they do or the service that they deliver, but then they still have to figure out who needs it. So you have to market to a vertical.
Yeah. So, right. Yeah, I would echo that. Yeah. And there are so many verticals. Somebody says to me, like, oh, is, I don't know, software for
Cannabis.
fit. Oh, it's going to, okay, cannabis. I've actually written a cannabis website, by the way.
Yeah.
I learned
That's
so
a
much.
brand new niche. That's
Oh
a
my
brand
gosh.
new growing niche. There are no copywriters in that industry yet.
Yep. Or I think I
Very
know a
few.
couple, but
A few.
it's so open.
Yeah, so open.
But I would say never worry about that. Every niche that's hopping, there's room for, like, I'm in the pet industry, right? There are maybe 6 other pet copywriters that I can think of, but how many companies are there? Like thousands and thousands and thousands. So don't even worry about that. You can be the fitness copywriter number 7. It doesn't matter, because companies, there's like a zillion fitness companies, right? And one of them will see you as a better match, even though somebody else might have been around longer. So do not worry about that. There's no competition.
And most copywriters are not marketing themselves.
No.
So, the fact that it's so hard for so many people means that most of them are not doing it. So you have very little competition.
Yeah, never worry about that.
Awesome. So I hope I'm saying this name right. I think it's Della DeHart. But I think she's overcomplicating this. So this question is a little long. It says, I need to find my niche, but also the hardest thing I'm having trouble with is getting everything technically set up, i.e. ClickFunnels, completing technically my LinkedIn page, PayPal, getting a quote page set up. I need a technical person that sets all this up before I can take a program to find customers. Is there a way that I can get a reliable, reasonable person that I can count on to do this for me? And I think if you two can also just speak to what you should have set up before taking something like the 21-day challenge.
Well, again, I mean, I err on the side of do it as you need it done, because that's when you will do it for the person who actually needs it. If you set things up in the abstract for, people who you don't even know what they're going to be asking for, to me, that's generally a waste of time. So, I mean, maybe Pam can speak to the specifics of what needs to be set up, but I always err on the side of just get out there, find some clients, you'll create a proposal template when you do your first proposal.
Okay, so when I started freelancing 300 years ago, it was the same as what, well, whatever. I got younger somehow, but I almost do the same thing today that I did then. Basically, if you have email, if you have LinkedIn, and Elise is going to walk you through LinkedIn, which is free and super easy to use. And if someone contacts you and you have a phone conversation with your phone or set up Zoom like this, it's free, it's easy. You don't need anything else. I honestly believe that, because if they say, well, will you send me a proposal? Sure, I'm going to take out a Word document and write a proposal and email it to them. I don't need any kind of software. If I haven't set up a accounting system yet, you don't even need that right at the start. You can take a piece of paper and keep a log of your invoices and just number them from 1 to whatever and put that on your invoice. I mean, it's super simple. I don't want the tech to get in your way. I really, really don't want the tech to get in your way, because it doesn't have to be complicated at all. And, Elise,
I don't even think you need a ClickFunnels. What the heck is a ClickFunnels?
I know. Well, yeah, because you need to build an email list to have a ClickFunnels. And I would say, as a copywriter, you only need a few clients. Maybe you only need 1 to get started, right? So you don't need this email funnel thing till you have a massive list. And as a copywriter, do you need a massive list?
No.
It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get
high quality prospects,
you need relationships.
Yeah.
So I would say put the tech aside. Start with the free and easy, which is LinkedIn basically, and your own email. You can go through Google Mail, it's Gmail, it's okay when you start. And then just build from there and use Word documents or even Google Docs to create proposals and other things. It doesn't have to be complicated or technical at all. I hope that helps you, because really, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself that you really don't even need to.
Yes.
Awesome. I mean, I'm so technically inept, and if I can set up a LinkedIn page, anybody can.
Exactly. Me too.
So,
I'm terrible.
Oh, man. So Stella has two questions. The first is if you have any insights on how to connect with businesses in different countries. And the second is a LinkedIn question about how to handle it when you have two effectively adverse unrelated services that you're offering. So, you know, like the typical problem of I want to keep my job, but I also want to advertise that I'm a copywriter.
All right, let me address that one first, and then maybe Pam, you can take the other one.
Sure.
On LinkedIn, I do not recommend that you have two profiles, number one. If you must use your personal profile for your job and you need something for your business, your freelancing business, then you can use a company page. But I will tell you that company pages are very limited in terms of what you can do with them. You can't connect with people. They can only follow you. You can't post from your company page. You can only post from your personal profile. You can post on your company page. So that is not the ideal situation. The ideal situation is being able to, because it is your personal profile, use it, you own it for your own, for the thing that is most important to you. So I don't know, again, could be kind of radical, but that's my take on it.
Well, I understand the hesitancy to have, like, if you're a nurse at a hospital and you have your profile as a nurse at the hospital, and then you put, I'm a copywriter in the health field too. Mm-hmm. Is there any fear of the company, the hospital you work for, going, what is that? What are you doing? We're not allowed to, you know, you aren't sanctioned to do that. That's what I think the worry is. Mm-hmm. What I have found for a lot of our members is that it's not a big deal. So like I work for AWAI full-time, that's on my profile, but I also write for the veterinary industry as a secondary thing. Now I have full blessing from AWAI, so I stay in the game for you guys to, you know, talk about real stuff happening every day. But I don't know if if that's the fear.
Yeah.
And how, you know, have you come across that, Elise, where someone feels like they just can't have a profile on LinkedIn because of their job?
Yes. And some jobs, you know, require you to not be doing anything else on the side. And in that case, I think you need a new job.
A copywriting job. No, yes. I agree. You know, it might be hard to get around that, but I don't know. I have found a lot of stories. I remember, what was her name? Shoot. Krista Jones, who worked at an engineering firm, and she wanted to become a copywriter. So she actually told her boss, I'm kind of doing this on the side. It has nothing to do with my time at doing engineering. And they were all for it. So it was no big deal. They were like, sure, we don't care. So it just is a case-by-case thing, but it should be okay.
So I have a question to layer on to that I think we pulled out of that question, but is if they have two industries that they really want to focus on, is it possible to create a LinkedIn page that focuses on the two industries? Okay.
Yes, I would, you know, this is kind of what I meant by speaking the language of the markets without calling to them directly, because you can create a LinkedIn profile that speaks to more than one market. And you can have a little section in your about section. Here's the one for designers. Here's the one for the manufacturers, right? So I don't recommend having more than one LinkedIn profile.
No, and I've actually seen you show examples, Elise, where somebody would say, I write copy for wine, tech, and industrial, blah, blah, blah. And it's exactly. Okay. Like, who's going to say, that's a terrible... No, it's fine. It's fine. You can be who you want to be,
ogres.
Right? Yeah. And then you explain it in you have, you know, a summary where you can explain it. You know, I love wine. I'm a sommelier. This is why I write for wine. I'm also a tech expert. I've spent 20 years in software. So bring it on. And then also I like to travel. So I write for travel. It's fine. People are like, wow, that's a cool, well-rounded person, actually. So I just have to say we have a hard stop in 7 minutes because another session is starting for one of our classes.
They're going to join us here.
No, no, it's totally different. But yeah, so I just wanted to say, and if you have more questions, you can always ask, you can email me, pfoster@awai.com. And I'm sure Elise would be happy to have you email her too if you get stuck and you have a question, especially about this program. If you have questions about the program coming up Monday. Yeah. Okay.
Well, this is good because we have one question left from Gabrielle.
Okay.
I'm kind of niching down to storytelling for businesses, case studies, personal histories, origin stories, and I'm not sure how to do research to find good companies to market to who are likely to need stories or multiple case studies. Any help with that?
So that's actually a perfect example of what we were saying, the difference between vertical and horizontal, right? Gabrielle is talking about her niche as a horizontal storytelling for business, case studies, and personal stories. As I said, you still have to identify the industries and the markets and the types of companies that are most likely to need the thing that you're offering. So, I mean, I don't know, off the top of my head, really almost anyone needs storytelling. So it's just a question of choosing the ones that I like to say you have the best access to, the easiest access to, whether that's because there's a local chapter of the trade association right down the street from where you live, or something based on your past history where you know the people and you can just apply what you're learning and what you're doing now to something that you've done before. But you still need a vertical if you're going to go after a particular market.
Yep. I mean, hopefully that helps. But, or, I mean, like I said, you can go to business expos. I used to live in Eugene, Oregon, and they have an annual business expo, and they've got, I don't know, 600 companies there of all kinds. And if you're just starting out, you could walk around and just start talking to different companies, different types of companies, and your niche might find you, or, a variety of niches. I've written, B2B copy too for everything from commercial dumpsters to LifeLock for business to, a wide range of things, which is super fun. So if you can go where people are collected, like those Chamber of Commerce or Business Expo things, where there's a variety of company representatives there, that might be your best bet to reach different verticals. So with that idea. Yeah, and so with that, I think we're done with questions, and this has been amazing. Thank you so much, Elise, for your time and your wisdom. And if you do want to check out her program starting Monday, you're going to have more of this awesomeness to look forward to. And I think that's it for today.
All right.
I wish you all well.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.